I'm going to explore an important part of Australian history and culture through the story of Adam Goodes, an Aboriginal Australian football player. This lesson is designed for Stage 3 history suitable for students in Year 5 to 6. I will be focusing on Aboriginal identity, recognising racism, and analysing how media can represent events differently. My focus area aligns with Stage 3 history outcomes, developing both historical knowledge and literacy skills. On the second slide, we see the learning focus. The learning focus here is encouraging empathy and respect for Aboriginal culture, exploring Aboriginal identity and racism through Adam's Good story, understanding of historical vocabulary, so for example, assimilation policy, dispossession of land, missions, building critical skills and digital texts. My first learning outcome, HS3ACH01, describes Aboriginal knowledges and practices that care for country and the importance of Aboriginal languages revival. This relates to Adam's Good stories about his Aboriginal identity and his culture. Students can discuss how Aboriginal culture is celebrated and pressured despite racism. Outcome 2, which is the HIS01, examines and describes the development of Australian colonies and Australia as a nation using sources as evidence. This relates to Adam Goode's experience of racism linked to historical past and patterns, example discrimination of the Aboriginal people and how they struggle to have a right. Outcome 3, which is the HS3CWT01, creates written text, communicate ideas and understanding about people, places, events of the past and the present. This outcome highlights the contemporary Australian events, showcasing how racism affects Aboriginal identity till now. This is done where students write their observation from the video about racism in a Y chart to communicate their understanding of social impact, identity, and racism, creating a written response. I have placed 3 videos with the links. Each video showcases the different perspective. For example, on the left hand corner at the bottom represents the media perspective about Adam Goodes being Buddha, and on the top left hand corner represents Adam Goodes' story, how he explains the discrimination he gets against his Aboriginal identity. I have copied and pasted the 4 resource model table adapted by Freebody and Duke 1990, introducing the key terms of the 4 resource model. For the next slide, these 4 resource models help support literacy development. For example, my digital text is a video. Students read both words and multimodal features, example through subtitles, interviews of Adam Good through music and through screen text. For example, I will pause the video and ask questions. What does this word mean? How do you think Adam Good felt? The meaning maker, for example, guiding students to connect on what they see, hear and feel to their prior knowledge of Aboriginal Australian history. The text user, why did the ABC Education make this video? The text analysis, encouraging my students through digital text, thinking critically about perspective, whose voices is centered, whose voice is missing, understanding text in a deeper level. The Y chart activity creates empathy and cultural understanding of being in Adam Goode's shoes. For example, it helps students interpret key ideas. As you can see, the drawn Y is split into 3 sections, the topic being about racism towards the Aboriginal culture, what it looks like, sounds like, and feels like. For example, I would ask the students before watching the video to write down what they think about racism. This helps students have a connection to Adam Goods while watching the video and pinpoint where the bias and racism is in the video. This helps create critical thinking and questioning when the video plays. So this is an example of the Y chart. Help analyze digital text. So my aim through my digital text, the video, is to look at visual analysis, body language, for example, how Adam Goods looks down, feels weak, facial expressions of fans, looking mad, angry, and disgusted, the booing scenes, sounds like, so the tone of the crowd voices the words that the crowds use, feels like, emotional impact, so how Adam Goods might have felt, how racism and cultural stereotypes affect Aboriginal people. Help literacy thinking, so decoding language, identifying key vocabulary in the video. For example, racism, assimilation, identity, dispossession of land, missions, meaning maker. Students interpret what they see in the video, so see, hear, feel. This encourages students to connect to new information, prior knowledge about Aboriginal history and about Adam Goods' experiences. This also promotes listening, comprehension, and skills. The text user helps students discuss and write a response. Text analyst students evaluate biases and stereotypes. For example, whose story is highlighted, questioning perspectives. This helps develop analytical and literacy skills. I have used the teacher as my activity too. This helps analyze both digital text, identifying differences of how events are portrayed and how they really are. So I've done a split to two perspectives, the media perspective and Adam Goods perspective. So on the left hand side we can see the media language. For example, booing is a part of the game, not about the race. Adam Goods is playing the race card. On the Adam Goods perspective, we see how he felt about media and about people discriminating against his Aboriginal culture and identity. For example, he says standing up against racism is about protecting culture and dignity, not complaining. Here, through these examples, we can see each side language choices and understand the different perspectives of each side. So for example, how to analyze digital text through the teacher to students. So here I've got down comparing perspectives, so media perspective of Adam Goods and Adam Goods. So how the events portrayed, what really happened, decode biases and point of views. So what language features did each digital text, each video use? Literacy thinking, so for example, code breaker, decoding specific media language, for example, like the race card. They notice each side that different tones have different word choice, so split into two sides. This shows clearly the word choice each perspective is written. Meaning maker, students interpret what each side means, how perspectives reflect different experiences. The text user asking rhetorical questions like why did the media frame this way of Adam Goods? The text analyst, for example, evaluating bias and stereotype. So whose voice is louder in each perspective? And how does this play an important and significant meaning? The third activity I have chosen is a word search, a fun interactive activity where this helps students understand historical terms, helps with word recognition and meaning, how to use the definition, the meaning in a sentence, the words, making connection to text, understanding the important concepts in history, for example, like the word assimilation policy, how has this impacted the Aboriginal people. This helps also build text to self and text to word connections. Once students find the words and they define it in a sentence and link them back to the video. This word search fun activity helps students strengthen their comprehension skills, cognitive ability, and literacy skills. So throughout the slide, analyzing digital text in a word search helps students identify key vocabulary, for example, assimilation, policy, referendum, missions, racism, making connection to text. So for example, how do these words connect to the video? So for example, how did missions affect Aboriginal people? How did the assimilation policy affect Aboriginal people? And how did it affect Adam Gould's past and present? Helping literacy thinking. So this is, for example, the code breaker, decoding words and meaning, how to spell and recognize words from digital text. Meaning maker, interpreting meaning and connecting words to the real world. The text user, why these words are important for understanding. So for example, why is terra nullius an important word to understand? That word, we cannot use it any other else because this can cause discrimination against Indigenous people. Text analysts, students ask questions, example, why is this word significant? So for example, like I was saying, terra nullius, this is a word that Captain Cook claimed about the Aboriginal people, that land belonged to no one. So words like this can affect Aboriginal people, and students learn to be careful with words and how it is used in sentences. So assessing students' learning, so I have chosen the formative assessment through anticipation, assesses pre-thinking. So for example, I have done the Y chart activity. This helps me understand students what they think about racism. So each student will go up to the board and then write what they think about racism. This will help me understand students' knowledge about racism. Also, I have observation through word search. This can help me monitor students through the circular vocabulary, the historical context. So for example, assimilation policy, what does that mean? The mission, the referendum. So I would see students' progress through interacting with the definitions on the word search, if they have done it correctly or incorrectly. Throughout the word search, I would ask the students who found this word and what does this mean. I would know that the students are understanding the content throughout classroom discussions and know what we are doing. The reciprocal questioning, think, compare and share. This helps EALD students. So this is where I ask questions or students ask questions and we answer. So it's a classroom discussion where this helps build cognitive development and literacy thinking. And this is my reference list. Thank you.